Hey, hope everyone is having a good day. Today's recording is about Thomas Edison, part 3. I had already completed 2 parts, and for those who hadn't watched the first 2 parts, I'll provide the link for those 2 parts in the description below. First part was about Thomas Edison and his early inventions. Second part was about Thomas Edison at Menlo Park Laboratory. Now let's keep rolling with the third part. Glenmont. After Edison's wife Mary Stilwell died in 1884, he rarely visited his laboratory at Menlo Park. In 1886, Edison married Mina Miller and bought Glenmont, a large country estate in the West Orange, New Jersey, where he established a new laboratory. He remained there for 45 years. This Glenmont estate and his laboratory are preserved as part of the Edison National Historic Site in West Orange and are open to the public. Motion pictures. In 1888, Edward Muybridge, an English pioneer in stop motion photography, showed Edison his photographs of horses in full gallop. Muybridge had taken the photographs using a series of cameras equipped with fast action shutters. He arranged the camera along the side of a racetrack, and the shutter of each camera was released when a horse broke through a string stretched across the track. By this method, Muybridge obtained a series of pictures, and when they were passed in front of a peephole in rapid succession, it created an illusion, giving the viewer the illusion that the horses were moving. Muybridge's visit inspired Edison to think of recording movement photographically who had already recorded sound. He began work to get the first motion picture camera. His first crude apparatus consisted of a photographically sensitive cylinder that revolved in synchronously with the camera shutter to take about 40 pictures per second. Later, Edison replaced his cylinder with 15 strips of Eastman film, a celluloid roll film. The new machine, completed in 1890, was the prototype of all modern motion picture cameras. For the demonstration of his motion pictures, Edison built a mechanism called the kinetoscope, which used positive film moving past a peephole. Positive film shows the correct area of light and darkness in the photograph, while the negative shows the opposite. Although only one viewer at a time could see the film, it gave much clearer and steadier pictures than did available screen and projector devices. Edison's studio. In 1893, Edison constructed the first motion picture studio. The building was 15.2 meters long and had a hinged roof that could be raised to admit sunlight. The whole building was mounted on a pivot and could swing around to follow the sun. Edison had the wall on the inside painted black because his background helped the cameras produce sharper pictures. In 1893 and 1894, Edison produced numerous one-minute films. His moving pictures included figures such as Japanese dances, American showman Buffalo Bill Cody with accompanying Indians in the first Western movie, and American prize fighter Gentleman Jim Corbett sparring with other boxers. The electric battery. In 1900, Edison planned to improve electrical storage battery that convert chemical energy into electrical energy. In storage batteries, two metal rods called electrodes are connected by a circuit immersed in a liquid called an electrolyte. The rods chemically react with the electrolyte to produce a flow of electrons through the circuit. The storage batteries of the time were called lead acid batteries because they had electrodes made of lead and lead oxide and an electrolyte made of acid. They were heavy, bulky, difficult to recharge, and susceptible to rapid corrosion. To reduce corrosion, Edison decided to use an alkaline solution instead of acid for the electrolyte in his battery. Finding a suitable electrode, however, proved difficult. Edison finally decided on a combination of nickel flake and nickel hydrate for the positive electrons and pure iron for the negative electrode. He used an electrolyte of potassium hydroxide with a small amount of lithium hydroxide. By the time Edison had perfected his storage battery, he had spent 8 years and $1 million on it. The battery was widely used in electric cars and even to power submarines. People still use storage batteries based on Edison's original principle in the lab for miners, power signals along with railroad tracks, isolated air beacons, and emergency power supplies. After his exhausting work on the alkaline storage battery, Edison again turned his attention to the phonograph. In 1912, he marketed the Edison Diamond Disc phonograph and disc records. These records measured about 6 mm thick and had a surface of bakelite varnish, an early form of plastic. Edison Portland Cement Company. Thomas Edison improved the Portland cement industry. Edison was developing an iron ore for mining process and discovered a market in the sale of waste sand to cement manufacturers. He decided to set his own cement industry, the Edison Portland Cement Company, founding it in New Village, New Jersey in 1899, and went on to supply the concrete for the construction of Yankee Stadium in 1922. Production began on the original Yankee Stadium on May 5, 1922, and was completed in just 284 working days. During the course of construction, 45,000 barrels of cement, 30,000 cubic yards of gravel, and 15,000 cubic yards of sand were mixed by 500 men who produced 35,000 cubic yards of concrete. When the building underwent renovations from 1973, the walls were left untouched because Edison's concrete mix was seen to be hard and durable enough to remain intact. Built in the Bronx, New York City, New York, the stadium was home to New York Yankees until 2008. Rubber. During 1920s, United States did not have an adequate supply of rubber, and in event of national emergency, it relied heavily on imports. At the age of 80, Edison set out to find plants that could grow in the United States and were suitable for producing rubber. In the next 4 years, he tested 17,000 different plants, finding rubber in 1,200 of them, but worthwhile quantities in only about 40. He chose to produce rubber from the goldenrod plant because it would grow in most parts of the country. It can grow to maturity in just one season and could be harvested by using machines. These characteristics made plant easy to grow and harvest on large scale required to produce rubber efficiently. Edison's assistant vulcanized this rubber to make it useful for plants about 10 days before his death. Honors. During Edison's lifetime, he received honors from all parts of the world. In 1881, he was awarded the French Legion of Honor for developing electric power distribution systems. Italy made him a Grand Officer of the Crown in 1889, and he received awards from the governments of Chile, Britain, Japan, Russia, and many other nations. American businessman Henry Ford spent several $1 million to erect a museum of industry in Dearborn, Michigan. The museum consisted largely of a collection of Edison's inventions. In 1929, the museum held a celebration called Light's Golden Jubilee to mark the 50th anniversary of inventions of the electric light. When Edison died, the United States government commenced turning off all electric current in the country for a minute or two as a tribute to him. Within Edison's lifetime, the system that he had pioneered had become essential to the nation's way of life. We have come to the end. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. We'll meet again in another recording. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye.